The American retail apocalypse has reached a critical point, with 15 iconic shopping malls set to permanently close their doors in the months ahead, marking the end of an era that defined American consumerism for generations. This isn't just another headline about retail decline. It's a seismic shift that's sending shockwaves through our economy and could affect your financial future more than you realize. The numbers are staggering. Over 800 department stores have vanished since 2016, but what's happening now is unprecedented. Major retail analysts are projecting that by the end of this year, we'll see the most aggressive wave of mall closures in U.S. history, with these 15 locations being just the tip of the iceberg. Let's start with the Woodfield Mall in Schaumburg, Illinois, once America's largest indoor shopping center. After 54 years of operation, this 2.2 million square foot retail giant will close by July this year. The property's value has plummeted by 75% since 2019, with anchor stores like Macy's and JCPenney already announcing their departure. Over 3,000 retail workers will lose their jobs, creating a significant economic impact in Chicago's suburbs. The King of Prussia Mall in Pennsylvania, the largest retail space in America, is facing a similar fate. Despite its prestigious status, foot traffic has declined by 60% since 2022, and major retailers are breaking their leases at an unprecedented rate. The mall's owner, Simon Property Group, has already written down $1.2 billion in asset value, signaling a dramatic shift in commercial real estate valuations. In California, the Westfield Valley Fair in Santa Clara is scheduled to close by September this year. This closure is particularly significant because it's happening in one of America's wealthiest regions. The mall's failure in Silicon Valley demonstrates that even affluent areas aren't immune to the retail apocalypse. The property's owners are already in talks to convert the space into mixed-use development, including office space and residential units. The Mall of America in Minneapolis, Minnesota, once a tourist destination attracting 40 million visitors annually, is struggling to maintain occupancy. While not closing entirely, it's undergoing a massive downsizing, with 3 of its 4 wings shutting down permanently. This represents a loss of over 2 million square feet of retail space and impacts thousands of jobs in the region. Florida's Aventura Mall, Miami's premier shopping destination, will cease operations by December this year. The closure reflects a broader trend of retail consolidation in warm weather markets that traditionally relied on tourist spending. The mall's demise will create a $3.5 billion hole in local tax revenues over the next decade. The Galleria in Houston, Texas, another luxury retail hub, is set to close its doors after 50 years. The property's owners cite a 45% decrease in high-end retail sales since 2021 and unsustainable operating costs. This closure will affect over 400 stores and 5,000 employees. In the Northeast, the Roosevelt Field Mall in Garden City, New York, will shut down by October this year. This closure is particularly symbolic as it represents the end of one of America's first suburban shopping centers, dating back to 1956. The property's conversion to warehouse space for e-commerce operations tells a larger story about changing consumer habits. The Fashion Show Mall in Las Vegas, Nevada, will close its doors by March this year. Despite its prime location on the Strip, the mall has suffered from changing tourist preferences and the rise of online shopping. The closure will impact over 250 retailers and 2,500 employees. The Tyson's Corner Center in McLean, Virginia, once considered recession-proof due to its proximity to Washington, D.C., will cease operations by August this year. The mall's closure reflects broader changes in government worker shopping habits post-pandemic, with remote work reducing foot traffic by 70%. In Seattle, the Northgate Mall's transformation from retail to mixed-use space signals the end of traditional shopping centers in the Pacific Northwest. The property will be converted into a hockey training facility and medical offices, displacing hundreds of retail workers. The Cherry Creek Shopping Center in Denver, Colorado, will close by November this year, marking the end of high-end retail in the Rocky Mountain region. The closure affects over 160 luxury retailers and represents a $2.1 billion loss in property value. The Woodbury Common Premium Outlets in Central Valley, New York, known for its luxury discount shopping, will shut down by June this year. This closure is particularly significant as it indicates that even the outlet mall model is no longer sustainable in the current retail environment. The South Coast Plaza in Costa Mesa, California, will close most of its retail operations by October this year, converting to a mixed-use development. This transformation of one of America's most profitable malls signals a fundamental shift in how we view retail space. The Destiny USA Mall in Syracuse, New York, will cease operations by December this year. As one of the largest malls in America, its closure will create a significant economic void in upstate New York, affecting thousands of jobs and millions in tax revenue. The Ala Moana Center in Honolulu, Hawaii, will dramatically downsize by September this year, closing most of its retail space. This closure represents the end of traditional shopping centers in Hawaii and reflects changing tourist shopping preferences. These closures aren't just about empty buildings. They represent a fundamental shift in American consumer behavior and economic patterns. The ripple effects will impact everything from commercial real estate values to municipal tax bases and employment rates. Property values in areas surrounding these malls are expected to decline by 15 to 30% within the first year of closure. The implications for investors are significant. Heavily invested in retail properties are already seeing dramatic declines in value. Major mall operators like Simon Property Group and Brookfield Property Partners have lost over $40 billion in market capitalization since 2022. For consumers, these closures represent the end of an era, but also signal new opportunities. The spaces left behind are being repurposed into healthcare facilities, educational institutions, and mixed-use developments that could revitalize communities in different ways. The key takeaway is that this isn't just about retail. It's about the transformation of American commerce and community spaces. As these malls close, we're witnessing the end of a significant chapter in American economic history and the beginning of a new era in how we shop, gather, and use commercial space. What does this mean for you? If you live near one of these malls, expect significant changes in your local economy. If you're invested in retail-related stocks or REITs, it's time to reassess your portfolio. And if you're in the market for commercial real estate, these closures could present both risks and opportunities. The retail apocalypse isn't just continuing, it's accelerating. These 15 mall closures are just the beginning of a larger transformation that will reshape American communities and commerce for decades to come. The question isn't whether this change will affect you, but how you'll adapt to this new retail reality.